No. Was the 2 greater than the 1? Yes. And I swapped that around. I got the 1 here and I got the 2 there. And then this is now what I was left with. And when that process completes, the smallest number goes to the beginning. Always. The smallest number can be anywhere. It'll always go to the beginning. So all I need to do now is to just repeat the process, but this time starting from the next cell. Is this greater? Yes. 6 goes there. 8 goes there. Is this greater? Is 6 greater than 7? No. Is 6 greater than 2? Yes. 2 goes there. 6 goes there. Right? And now what am I left with? I'm now left with 1, 2, 8, 7, 6. And you will notice the smallest one in this set moved to the beginning. So if I repeat the process, you can imagine what's going to happen now, starting at the next cell. The smallest set here is going to come to the front of these 3 cells. So is 8 greater? Yes. 7 goes there. 8 goes there. And now is 7 greater than 6? Yes. 6 goes there. And 7 goes there. So now I'm now left with the array that has 1, 2, 6, 8, and 7. And finally, I'm going to move to the next cell and check, is that greater? Yes, it is. 7 is going to go there. 8 is going to go there. And guess what? We now have an array that is sorted. So that is the technique that we're going to use in the selection sort. Okay, so how do we go about doing this? Just for the, okay, maybe let's just write it. Let's write it quickly. So to do this, we need 2 loops. There needs to be one loop that controls you going to each cell. And there's another loop that has to control coming down. It can't stop after the first round because everything is not sorted. So one loop to go across and another loop to take you till the last 2 values are sorted. So to do that, we will run 2 loops. The first loop for int I equals 0, I less than, what's my array called? I'm just going to call it arr.length, I plus plus. Okay, I plus plus. And I'm going to start my second loop. Right, let me just do this in a different color for int j equals. Now you'll notice this is the inner loop. The inner loop.
Suddenly, hour and 10 minutes. Go on, I'll record.
Sorry, guys. Guys, any questions? Okay, let me just complete this. For int j equals 0, j equals, and here j starts at I plus 1. It starts 1 ahead of the outer loop. And then here I'm going to say j less than arr.length, j plus plus. Right? And then now I do the checking to see if one is greater than the other and I need to swap them. So I'm going to check if arri is greater than arrj, the one loop is greater than the other loop, then you want to swap. Typical swap, which you should be familiar with, temp equals ARRI, ARRI equals ARRJ, and ARRJ equals temp. So then I close that, I then close that, and finally I close that loop. So this is how you would go about doing a selection sort, which will sort the numbers in the array. A for loop on the outside, right? And then the second for loop on the inside. And the key here is that this for loop on the inside starts at one position ahead of the outer loop. And you check to see if one is greater than the other. Right, and if it's greater, you perform a swap. So that's how you go about doing a sort. This is the code that you will use to perform a sort. Let's look at it in more detail. We first perform an input. So this is where we input 5 marks. Here, we then sort the 5 marks, and thereafter, we output the marks. This is the routine that allows us to output the 5 marks. And remember, since the sort was done before the output, we expect the marks to be output and the marks should be sorted. So let's give this, before we test it, you will notice there is 2 loops. There's 2 for loops. The inner for loop, the J loop, runs at one position more than the outer loop, the I loop. We test to see if the first cell is greater than the cell next to it. And if it is greater, we then swap. So let's give this a test. Let's run it and see what output we get. Here, let's enter 5 marks. I'm just going to enter 5 numbers in random order. So we'll start with 4, 1, 5, and then we'll go 2 and 3. And then the output then prints the numbers after it was sorted, and you will see that the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That means our sort is working correctly. Now, our sort is giving us the numbers in ascending order. Should you want the numbers in descending order, then the only difference would be for you to change the sign from a greater than sign to a less than sign when you are comparing. When you compare the 2 marks, you want to check if the mark before is less than the mark ahead of it. And if it is, then you want to conduct the swap. So this is how your sort routine works. I hope you understand this.